Imagine Communications is pleased to welcome our partners at Innovar to share their expertise in seamlessly connecting buy and sell side operations via next-gen ad tech. Innovar Solutions is an operational improvement firm focused on helping clients drive costs out of their business, enhance revenue streams, and improve the overall customer experience clients deliver.
Hi, and welcome to the session today. My name is Sean Kaufman, CEO of Innovar, and I'm joined by three of our product delivery leads. We have Barry Rothschild, Ruben Salazar, and Anne-Marie Doherty. What we'll be discussing today is how to simplify the ad buying process between the buy side and the sell side, or what we call the ad platforms. We'll narrow that discussion down and talk about how we automate three specific processes. We'll first focus on the pre-buy or the proposal process. Then we'll move on to media distribution and how we link that to other campaign components. And then we'll also talk about how we automate creative instructions. Now, there's several reasons that we wanted to talk about this topic and explore the concept of a sales gateway. The first reason is we wanted to streamline the process between the buy side and the sell side and eliminate all those phone calls and emails going back and forth to validate that the other party got the transaction they were supposed to. Second is, when we looked at the landscape, we didn't find an industry solution that would work for broadcast, cable, satellite, radio, or other ad platforms. And then finally, we've built several point solutions on the ad platform side that we wanted to expose to the buy side to make it transparent and automate those transactions completely. Now, we could focus an entire session on each one of those puzzle pieces, but we wanted to focus this session on the high-level components and considerations. So what I'll do is I'll first turn it over to Barry Rothschild. She's our product delivery lead over in Vision, which is our product for inventory management and dynamic pricing. And she'll talk a little bit about that pre-buy and that proposal process and all the considerations and challenges that we explored while we were building our sales gateway. Barry, you want to take it from here?
Thanks, Sean. As Sean mentioned, I have many years experience on the buying side across multiple ad platforms like broadcast, cable, radio, and satellite, both at the local and national levels. I spent the first decade of my career as a media buyer and buying manager at various small, medium, and large agencies across a wide variety of advertisers. And from there, I moved on to work at a multi-billion-dollar company where I oversaw the offline media procurement for the US and Canada. So I have a wide breadth of media knowledge and have experienced firsthand the emails and phone calls of the back and forth negotiations between a buyer and an AE at an ad platform. I also have extensive experience working with our operations executives at our clients. And from all of this experience, at a macro level, there are some key questions and activities that buyers are trying to resolve on a day-to-day basis. So, to start, it takes a lot of time to research and determine, which ad platforms are the best for your advertiser. And once that's done, you have to really determine what the goals are going to be for that buy and that campaign, setting budgets, setting audience targets, and campaign objectives. And from there, the buyer is tasked with negotiating and determining if there is even inventory to reach those goals. And, what is the proper rate for that? And what can they negotiate and still remain within their goals and achieve the needed clearance for that advertiser? It's a delicate balance, and the buyer and the AE work hand in hand throughout that whole entire process. Once that buy is placed and it's in progress, the buyer may be interested in, all of the statuses that go along with that campaign, whether it be the creative that's attached to the campaign itself to ensure that is matched up properly and ready to go to air. Also, mid-campaign, understanding where they stand with audience achievement. So during the campaign runtime. So, typically that campaign performance, it really isn't assessed until the end of a campaign. And, bonuses schedules as it's owed, but I really do believe that buyers would love to know how their campaign is tracking along the way and be able to, apply that bonus mid-campaign and hopefully reach their goals before the end of that campaign. Ultimately what I've learned from both the agency, client, and provider interaction that I've experienced is, there really isn't a standard for that negotiation process and the sharing of information between the buyer and the AE. So, each buyer and AE really has to conform to their different counterparts' approach to that process, and it can differ across buyers and across AEs. So any standardization in that process would really help both parties. In addition, every ad platform, they have their own set of, point solutions internally to help their AEs through that process as well. So there's definitely some opportunity for, integrations within that internal process too. And obviously, any integration with those point solutions would need some security and roles assessment to make sure that everything is looked into from that aspect. So, what I found from working with, different clients is that really every channel needs its own set of customization, even in a standardized process. So, even in that standardized process, everybody needs their own configurable business rules. So solving for a lot of these problems is what we do at Innovar, and it's really been our focus. And we're always thinking about, how can we simplify and automate these processes for buyers and advertisers?
Thanks, Barry. Yeah, I'd like to add to something that you mentioned regarding the integration required at the ad platform. You really do have to have a lot of connective tissue with the ad platform ecosystem to fully automate some of these use cases. Sometimes we'll find a monolithic system that encompasses CRM and OMS, traffic, inventory, etc. Or sometimes those are individual components within the overall ecosystem. The next topic we'd like to discuss is media distribution. And that's more than just simple moving media from point A to B. We'd like to talk about and show, or I guess discuss challenges and considerations with linking that to other components of the campaign. So for that discussion, I'd like to introduce Ruben Salazar. He's our product delivery lead over our Touch product, which handles media workflow and distribution. So Ruben, you want to take it away?
Thanks, Sean, for the brief intro. So a little bit about myself. I have 27 years within the telecom space in an operations capacity. 18 of those years was in a Fortune 500 company, and 13 of those years was leading technology and ad sales operations teams in all aspects of the ad fulfillment process. Having been on both sides of the business as both operator and now as a delivery lead provides insight into key learnings and gives us the ability to help solve complex problems through process and automation. So let's talk about some of the physical media asset challenges we see in the industry today. I believe distribution is only one of 4 factors challenging us in the ad space. Distribution, timing, visibility, and linking of the media assets to the ad copy and the campaign all have trickle effects in the overall ad workflow. So let's take timely resolution of issues. They're all critical in ad operations, especially when it comes to physical media assets. A lot of people tend to overlook this as an integral part of the placement of ad campaigns. Sales and sales support teams are dependent upon operations to steward the quality control, encoding, and distribution of the physical asset before they can add copy instructions and tie it to the campaign. But in order to do that, the media asset has to first be received, reviewed, and categorized and approved. There are many variables that could impact the quality control approval workflow. And if there's an issue with that media asset, someone has to make contact with that agency and advertiser or the production house to remedy that issue. This is where real-time visibility of the status of that media asset will greatly enhance and automate the workflow. Many times, agencies, advertisers, or production houses submit a media asset without knowing the status. They don't know if there's an immediate issue with that physical asset or if it's been tied to the ad copy instructions or the campaign. This has the potential to spin up multiple phone calls, emails, or notifications between media operations and sales teams with the agencies, advertisers trying to resolve these types of issues. So I believe everyone would agree that a lot of time and energy is spent and lost without linking the physical media asset to the status of receipt, where that asset is within the quality control workflow, whether it's tied to ad copy instructions in the overall campaign, and lastly, the delivery of that media to the ad servers. Sean talked about distribution. We know that most cases, these same agencies and advertisers and productions houses have to upload physical media assets to several distribution platforms. And then they have to aggregate and compile statuses across all ad platforms in order for those same agencies and advertisers to have a good understanding where that media asset is within the ad placement workflow. This can be challenging at times. We have the ability to solve for this by linking status visibility not only to a single advertising platform, but many. We have established a service that provides a single distribution outlet, not only for agencies and advertising platforms, but also allowing production houses the ability to upload media assets to specific agencies and advertisers' media libraries. The agencies and advertisers can then manage, distribute, and track their media assets. They can link those assets to ad copy and the campaigns. We're able to accomplish this through a secure handshake that we broker between agencies, advertisers, and the ad platforms. Not only for media service, but with the ability to link electronic ad copy instructions to the campaign via the proposals, as Barry mentioned earlier, an automated association of ad copy instructions, as you'll hear Anne Marie discuss. More automation with customized business rules eliminates manual intervention and human errors and provides a much faster and seamless ad placement. Having the ability to know if the asset has been received, QC approved, rejected, if it's been categorized for any kind of restrictions, and if it's been encoded and delivered to the ad servers for playout is valuable. For ad agencies, advertisers, and partners alike, this is extremely beneficial. I'd like to reiterate the timely resolution of issues. Think through sweeps and political seasons when media assets are being delivered and distributed up against tight deadlines. Having the linkage to status, ad copy, and campaigns can make the difference of when spots are placed on air.
Appreciate it, Ruben. Thank you. The thing that we can't stress enough in this area is the linkage. The linkage that needs to exist between the media, the campaign, and the creative instructions. And then providing the status of that linkage to both parties, the buyer and the seller. The last area that we'd like to explore is creative instructions, or you might hear them referred to as traffic instructions or ad copy instructions. There's a lot of considerations and challenges in this area today, but all of them revolve around a central theme, which is accuracy and quality. One mistake in this area can cost you $25 or it can cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. So to explore this area, I'd like to introduce you to Anne Marie Doherty. She's our delivery lead for all of our solutions that revolve around creative instructions. So Anne Marie, would you like to walk us through this area?
Thank you, Sean. Happy to be here today to talk about ad copy instructions. Just a few minutes about me to get started. I have a diverse and varied background from multiple sides of the table that I think helps to lend a unique perspective to my role. From corporate roles that I had in finance and operations, I can certainly understand the impact when ad copy does not run correctly, both from the financial perspective and from the client relationship perspective between a buyer and a seller. I've had a lot of fun leading large consulting projects focused on re-engineering. The great thing about re-engineering is you can look at an entire process for the whole ecosystem, look at people, process, and technology to help come up with the solution to streamline. And then on the software side of the house, for the past several years, getting to actually develop a solution for ad copy that looks at that whole ad copy lifecycle and strives to find those solutions for both the buyer and the ad platform side. So as you can imagine, when you strive to do that, you've got to look at both components and all the factors in the mix to say, how do we solve for this? What are the challenges? What are the gaps? We spent a lot of time talking to people, the buyers, the agencies, the teams on the ad platform sales side, to find out what were those common challenges and what those gaps were so that we can design a solution that meets everybody's needs. And as you can imagine, they come down to those core functions of needing it to be accurate and of the highest quality. So when you look at it from the buyer's perspective, the key things for the buyers are, how do I get my instructions in? What format do you need it in? The format that's going to get it in the quickest and the easiest with the least amount of questions. Do you take Word? Do you take Excel? Do you take, a PDF or an email? What does that look like? And then what information do I need? How quickly do I have to get that to you? Can I start tomorrow? What do you need around dates? What about my media? Has my media come in yet? Because as you can imagine, you're trying to marry the campaign, the media, and the instructions, and they're all coming from different places, typically at different times, but yet we have to get them all together again so that they're accurate and we can get things started and airing as soon as possible. So then if they have any questions, they want to know, hey, am I missing anything? Do you need anything from me? Or do I have to wait 30 days to get my invoice and find out there was a problem or you didn't have everything you needed? On the ad platform sales side, they also have needs and challenges just like the buyers. So who's going to process those instructions on the ad platform side? Is it a sales or a sales support person, or is it traffic people? So with both a sales or sales support or traffic person, they're coming from different perspectives, different backgrounds. Yet in order to enter copy, we want them to be able to have a single, easy way that makes sense to everybody, regardless of what your background or level of expertise is. So then also on the ad platform sales side, they have to worry about getting that media together, matching it up, getting that linkage with the campaign and the instructions, getting it on air as quickly and accurately as possible. And also taking a look at all the business rules that the traffic systems have. What about dates? Are there any restrictions? Does this content need to not run at certain times of the day or on certain zones or network? And making sure that that's all handled as well. So as you can imagine, a lot of things to take into account from both the buyers and the ad platform sales side. The good news is there's an automated solution that takes into account all the components that we've talked about today. You've got the buy side that Barry shared with us, the media side that Ruben talked to us about, and now the ad copy instruction side. So back to you, Sean. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. As each one of you went through your individual components of the campaign, I think what became clear, or at least I hope what became clear, is that linkage is the key, right? Providing that status and that transparency back to the buyer is critical, right? All of these start out from a campaign perspective as an overall campaign, but they're often sent to the ad platform as individual transactions. And that's where the complexity comes in for the ad platform of putting all of those pieces of the puzzle back together. So when we started developing our ecosystem for a sales gateway, we wanted to make sure that there was transparency from both the buyer and the seller. And that linkage went through all of those transactions. So even if only one of the transactions actually went through our gateway, because of the connective tissue that exists on the ad platform, we could provide that linkage across all of those components and keep it as one campaign. I hope you got some insights and takeaways from today's session. If you do want to find out more about Innovar or InView, which is our sales gateway, please visit our website. Thank you very much.